It's Pueblo's greatest hits, KPHT 95.5 on a Friends Friday. My longtime friend in here, and first time on the radio together, I believe, Dave Ritterling. Dave, how you doing?
Good morning. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Nice of you to get up so early today, too. You know,
I love it. Not a problem.
You don't sleep in on Fridays?
Nope, never. Especially if there's time with Nick.
Now, I take this back because you hosted the Senior Living Today show for how many years did you host that?
Well, we started the Senior Living show in 2006.
Wow.
And I sort of ceased doing it, transferred it over to Brian and his gang 2016. So for about 10 years, yeah.
Wow.
And you were like our producer.
Yeah, and you would go up and do this on KCSJ, our sister station. And
That's right.
So you had me on there one time is what I was getting at.
We've done it. Yeah, we've done it.
Yeah, so we have been together here and there. But broadcasting, I mean, you're not a Pueblo native, right?
No. Born and raised mostly in the Midwest, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, kind of my roots. But we've been here for the longest ever. We've been here 25 years now.
25 years. 25. Wow. Doesn't seem like it.
Time flies and you're having fun.
Evidently. But so you had a radio background back in the Midwest?
I did.
Right?
I had a degree in broadcasting, and in the Air Force, I was a TV production officer, and I had some great opportunities. I did the Larry Holmes Muhammad Ali fight. We worked at game shows. Just a tremendous experience as a military guy going on TDY, going on vacation, and just going ahead and doing those special productions with, great events that you'd think that you wouldn't ever do in the military.
Really? Yeah, you think you're just, doing push-ups and things like that.
Yeah, not this guy. I mean, people ask me, tell me about your Air Force career. You don't want to know. I worked with the Thunderbirds. We did the Thunderbirds commercials, and so my brother was a radio guy. I was a TV guy. And so when I came to Pueblo, it was kind of unique just to Carrie Morris Skinny helped me with, I guess, the first iteration of Senior Living Today, and it went from there.
Now, that was sponsored by Visiting Angels and things, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But I met your brother one time, as you mentioned. Roger?
Doug.
I knew it had an O in it, that's all.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was in radio a long time.
Interesting guy. We had some good conversation. But this morning on a Friends Friday, it's Pueblo's greatest hits, KPHT 95.5 on a Friends Friday. My longtime friend in Dave Ritterling. We were talking about broadcast career, Air Force, all that kind of stuff. So your first love was TV, right?
My first love was TV. I did a bachelor's degree at Capital University in Columbus, Ohio, and then got a commission in the Air Force. How am I going to use this? And ended up actually being a television production officer and going into what we call combat camera.
Combat camera,
yeah. And so we did documentation. I met my wife doing a documentary in Canada.
Wow.
We did Thunderbirds commercials. We did a variety of things in the Air Force, and I had the time of my life.
So most guys start in radio and end up in TV. You were kind of the reverse of that.
That's right. Yeah, started out in the television side for the Air Force, and then as I became a senior commander, I became commander of organizations that were sent around the globe to document conflicts, things that were going on with the military.
And is that stuff that the average person saw, or was that like exclusive just for the military?
It depended what the military wanted you to see.
Whatever you were supposed to do. I'm sure if you could talk about some of that, there'd be some interesting stuff.
I've got a lot of interesting stuff that I don't talk about.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
We had a good time doing that. I mean, we had to document a Thunderbird crash of 4 airplanes back in Indian Springs, Nevada. I was working with Sully, the guy that crashed on the Hudson. We used to work together doing television shows in Nellis. So a great guy, and I was certainly surprised to see him on the water.
Wow, that's amazing. There. What the heck brought you to Pueblo?
Well, I came to Pueblo in 1998 to run a company called Century 400, which eventually got sold and moved up to Denver. So we turned it around, but decided to stay, and we started Visiting Angels right after that.
And was Century 400 out by the airport, industrial park?
Right out by the airport.
That's what I thought. Yeah. What was it like? What kind of company?
It was wonderful. We did rotationally molded equipment and had a nice-sized company, but fixed a few things when we got there, and it took right off, and somebody liked it enough to buy it.
That's the way you always hope it ends up. Yeah,
that's right.
Dave Ritterling in here on a Friends Friday on KPHT 95.5, Pueblo's greatest hits. I've heard a rumor that you were on Hollywood Squares one time.
Yes,
Is that true?
It was. It was back in '81 when I was just a young buck, and I remember
Peter Marshall was that.
Peter Marshall
why do I
was,
remember stuff like this?
Peter Marshall was on the show, and behind the scenes, it turned out that Peter Marshall's wife was from Greenville, Ohio, where I'm from, and
Wow.
we actually had some connectivity behind the scenes. And one of the questions got set up to me, and he sort of said, "Well, Dave, you're from a small town. Who's happier?" I said, "A small town," and I won the X. So it was kind of he was really a great guy to work with.
So were all the people military? I mean, Paul Lynde wasn't there, and Wally Cox.
Paul Lynde was there.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was the full Hollywood setup. We had Vincent Price
you
on
were
the show. I was the contestant.
Contestant. What am I thinking here? Yes.
They wouldn't want a guy like me in one of those squares, but no, it was a fun to be the Air Force's contestant.
Sure, I got you now.
Yeah,
I'm
Hollywood
not thinking.
Squares.
So who else? Who were the guests that were on there? Then?
Well, I had Phyllis Diller. We had Fred Herman. Hollywood. We had Paul Lynde. Vincent Price.
Vincent Price. Did you get to meet these people behind the scenes, or was that kind of?
I had met a few of them at other events,
but not there.
Yeah,
at that,
they keep you away.
Separate.
There was a gal named Pia Zadora.
I remember Pia Zadora.
And she was just sort of new on the scene. I eventually saw
She was
her.
like the eye candy for Hollywood Squares. Yeah,
she didn't sing that great.
Yeah.
But anyway, we saw her. I saw her again about maybe 5-6 years ago in Las Vegas, and she's still singing. Invited me to the show. Remembered the episode that we were on.
You're kidding.
It was really amazing.
That's awesome.
Had a good time.
Pia Zadora. How many people can drop that name?
I don't know if anybody knows her, but maybe her husband.
Maybe, yeah. So Hollywood Squares, that was one of the things you were talking about, but I didn't realize you were a contestant on it. Yeah,
no, we won our. I had just married Carolyn in Canada. We came back and won a week in Honolulu, a week in San Francisco, a bunch of women's clothing, which didn't interest me that much.
I was going to say, I'm not sure,
Yeah,
I'm not here to pass judgment.
That's okay. No, it was not something that I enjoyed wearing, but I did. No, just kidding.
Yeah. There you go. Dave Ritterling in on a Friends Friday on KPHT 95.5, Pueblo's greatest hits. Dave Ritterling in here, and we were talking about some of the stuff in the past, but Visiting Angels is where you and I pretty much kind of met each other here, because obviously, as we talked a while ago, you came into this building and recorded it for many years. But so Visiting Angels started here in Pueblo. Was this something you started? Or
well, actually, Carolyn and I started our franchise here, and our actual startup was in Philadelphia.
Okay.
So, and our CEO, Larry Megg, still owns that original one, and we were one of the early adopters. However, what started here really was our broadcast legacy.
Okay.
This is where we came up with the jingle, Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care, and we began sort of leveraging it out of Pueblo. We used KOAA to do our initial productions, and now we're doing them out of New York. I'm doing about 3 to 4 a year.
Wow.
And that little jingle that was started right here in Pueblo has become really a national. I sit on an airplane and people say, "Who do you work for?" I say, "Visiting Angels," and they sing me the jingle. Kind of fun.
If they can do that, you've done something right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome there. So
customer, okay.
Visiting Angels, tell people that don't know what that is. You better tell us what it is.
Well, Visiting Angels is in my role as the global senior vice president. We've got home care all over the globe: Mexico, UK, South Korea, Canada, here in the U.S., and we do private duty, non-medical home care for seniors that want to remain in either their home, assisted living, wherever they may be. We bring in caregivers on a private pay basis, or maybe paid by the VA and other sources, to provide that relational care where you really develop that strong bond between the care recipient who's aging and needs that care, and with wonderful caregivers that just love to to connect and help, and even in the area of personal care.
So it's more like having a family member.
It's like a family member.
Wow,
It is. We're
that
very
is
close
awesome.
to them.
And so that started in Philadelphia. You opened a franchise here in Pueblo.
That's right.
And this is like a worldwide thing now.
Yeah, it's gotten really, really large. Our fastest takeoff right now is in the UK.
Wow.
And we've got 35 on the way to 45 franchises all around London, the north. We just opened up Scotland. We'll be opening up Ireland. And there is a very big appetite for this kind of care all over the world.
Well, when you think how old the Rolling Stones are, I mean, you should probably be there.
They could be a client.
That's what I'm thinking.
Even now.
Dave Ritterling in on a Friends Friday on KPHT 95.5, Pueblo's greatest hits. Well, I've met your beautiful wife before. You said you met her in Canada and
I did.
Got married.
Yeah,
and,
I was doing a documentary, and believe it or not, met her at the hotel where we were staying. The next day, I thought, I'm going to marry her. And about the third time we saw each other, we were getting married. I saw her 3 times.
Now, how long have you been married?
41, 5 months, and probably 5 days.
And how many hours? Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I just love her. It's been great to bring her back from Canada. I remember when we moved to Las Vegas, where I was living at Nellis Air Force Base, and she had never driven through a street light.
Wow.
And she said, well, what do I do when the light turns yellow? I just scream and
she was
press
from
the
that
gas.
small of a town, or
That's right.
Canada?
Yeah, it was just at a blinking yellow light.
Wow.
And that was the exposure to stopping, which was nil.
Wow.
So it was kind of fun for us to bring her back from Canada and get her used to the big city, especially.
And take her right to Las Vegas, which is totally the opposite.
Totally
yeah. So you've been married 41 years.
41 years.
And how many kids and things like that?
Well, we got 6 kids and about 8 grandkids, and always more coming. We're always excited, and my biggest fear is I might forget their names if we get too many of them.
Now, when you say more coming, you mean more grandkids, right?
More grandkids,
not
always
more
on
kids.
the way. Yeah, that's right. Always on the way. That's the goal. I told them I'd like 20, but if you all just do like 2.5, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, interesting stuff. So it sounds like you've moved around a lot.
I did. I was like the potted plant. My dad was a Lutheran minister, and we moved every 3 years. In the military, I moved every 3 years.
Sure.
So Carol and I, and her dad was a Canadian fighter pilot every 3 years. So when we finally settled in Pueblo, that was 25 years ago.
What happened?
Well, we sort of liked it here.
You got some roots here.
We have some roots here. Our kids got married to people from here, and now we're actually Puebloans.
Now you're stuck.
We are here. That is for sure.
That's good.
We're rooted down and love it. But it's definitely been a fun ride, and watching people age for the first time in my life.
And you say that while looking at me. Thank you very
not
little.
You, buddy. You don't age at all.
We both know better than that. You should sell cars is what you should do. I think I've told you that before. But Dave Ritterling in here on a Friends Friday on KPHT 95.5, Pueblo's greatest hits. So you traveled around a lot. You ended up in Pueblo. But something I heard you say in our last segment, you were a minister's son.
Yeah, no, my dad served a lot of congregations in my life, all the way from Nebraska, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, moved around a lot.
So were you the rebellious minister's son, or were you the...
You could probably say that. I was the guy that had the ideas that other people did. How's that?
You were the brainchild.
I was the brainchild of the problems. But yeah, no, being a preacher's kid was particularly a challenge.
I'm sure.
And but I did a good job of it for most of my life.
Well, I was going to say most of the preacher's kids I know went totally the other way. So I know you have not, because I've seen you at the church. I've seen you do different things. You actually do some ministry and things that, right?
Yeah, no, the light came on, and faith is a very big part of my family and a big part of my life, and serving other people, and in that law of reciprocity defines that, to where you're serving people, you're giving because you give, and whatever comes back is irrelevant.
Yeah,
but you're doing things for the right reasons,
right? And
that excites me.
Well, that's good. So that was kind of handed down to you. And brother and stuff, are they kind of the same way, or what goes on there?
No, my brother's a senior designer at Ryobi, a real talented guy. But I'm
Ryobi's like the power tools, right?
The power tools people. He designs all that stuff you're buying over at those retail stores.
Right.
So vacuums and all that stuff he's designed. But yeah, for me, I went kind of the relational route. Did a graduate degree in ministry, did a graduate degree in human relations, a graduate degree in counseling. So I'm sort of the Deanna Troy of the vessel.
I guess that's good.
I like the people.
Now, I know you said you do this, and I've heard you've done this, marriage counselor kind of thing.
We do. Yeah, Carolyn is a counselor at Family Worship Center, and I assist with marriage counseling, although sometimes it's a real challenge, as you might imagine.
Oh, I'm sure.
And sometimes it's a real challenge to keep your own marriage going real well.
I think everybody could attest to that.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we like to help whenever we can, people that love each other, that have a basis, usually a basis in God. And together we can kind of guide people through the maelstroms and the storms to keep their marriages together. We enjoy doing that.
Wow, I'm sure that's very rewarding.
It is.
Especially if you see them 10 years later and they're still together or whatever.
That's the win.
And do they blame you?
That's the win. They probably do.
It's Pueblo's greatest hits, KPHT 95.5 on a Friends Friday. My friend in today, longtime friend Dave Ritterling. Now I can say longtime Puebloan, just about 25 years.
25 years.
Wow. We talked a little bit earlier about kind of how you and I met. Was the Senior Living Today show that you recorded here at the radio station for many years. Longest running show, right?
Longest running senior show in America.
Wow.
And I found that out because we were actually considering syndication. People were actually getting a hold of us, and that was a lot more time and a lot more effort than I could handle. But I was told by them as they researched that this was the longest running senior show in America.
So this isn't just something you came up with.
No.
So, you've had some interesting guests on there, I know, throughout the years, because I put the show together for the most part.
Yeah.
But some of the guests,
Dave Feemster was fun. He had Gary Unger.
Yeah.
And Gary Unger, who had 972 straight games in the NHL, had a double knee replacement. We were talking about what a bow-legged pro skater has to change his skating style when his legs are straight.
Right.
So that was fun. We used to have our congressional representatives on the show. We used to have fly fishing shows, anything related to seniors in the community. And literally what we tried to do was not focus on what we do at Visiting Angels, but
on the health and things like that. Yeah.
No, most of this really was talking with doctors, anybody who had anything to do with seniors and really talking about their position and what they do. And that was just really great. We connected with over 550 different Pueblo leaders, Southern Colorado leaders, and we've had just some wonderful people, authors on the show. Antoine Burton came on. I've had other NFL athletes come on the show.
We had trouble getting him through the door. He's so big.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. We've had some fun shows.
And the show carries on today. I know you retired, what'd you say, in 16?
Yeah.
In 16, the show carries on today, and they're doing a lot of that same stuff.
Same stuff.
On our sister station, 590 KCSJ. But do you wish you'd have syndicated that? You got so much other stuff going on.
I have a lot of other things going on, and as I circle back, I think the influence out there in radio to let people know about seniors and really educate people about seniors, and that serving seniors is a team sport, and there's a whole lot of people around you that you may not know about that can really help that aging process.
And the thing I never realized at the time is now we're seniors.
Yes, we are. Preparing
I
the way.
hate to admit that, but we are.
We were preparing the Medicare way. Now that I think about it, I wish I'd done more Medicare shows.
It kind of set in with me one day when I went to Walgreens, and the guy said, "Would you like the senior discount?" And I was like, "What?" Then I realized, I guess I am available for that. Yeah. It's Pueblo's greatest hits, KPHT 95.5 on a Friends Friday. My longtime friend Dave Ritterling in today, and we're just about to wind things up. So we talked a lot about some of the interesting stuff you've done in the past here, but you're not retired by any means. You got a lot going on right now. I know that.
I'm shy, but not retiring.
You're not shy either.
No,
I know
I'm
that.
Not shy. I don't see retirement in the Bible anywhere. And I kind of look around and think, well, what does this really look like? You're flying the plane a little lower and a little slower. And you're thinking, when do I put the landing gear down? And you know what? I'm having such a good time doing Visiting Angels Global, training people around the world, being a part of Sangre de Cristo Hospice and community care. And just, helping my wife at Keller Williams, all those kinds of things.
So you don't have time to retire.
No, it's just too much fun.
That's kind of where I am too, But I see you got your granddaughter in here now. You probably should introduce us to her.
I'd love to. This is Lydia Jimenez, and she's a sophomore at County High School, and she's in the broadcasting program. So I'm so proud that we have a broadcasting legacy in our family. And I'd love to see
run down
Lydia
here.
do that.
Well, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You got to get really close to that microphone.
I'm doing real good.
Good. Now, what do you think? What do you call him?
I call him Papa.
Papa. What do you think about him here on this?
I think this is really cool. As a broadcasting kid at County, I'm always trying to find more things with broadcasting and trying to explore. So I think this is a really cool.
So you thought you'd come sit in with a couple of old guys and see how it kind of happened here, then, huh?
Yep.
He's a pretty cool guy, isn't he?
He's pretty funny.
Yeah, he is. But good luck on your career, and thanks for coming in and driving him here or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but absolutely. Well, Dave, thank you for coming in here, and what a pleasure it is knowing you.
It is just. I just love all the work that you've done in the community. How you've been such a catalyst to success in radio here.
Well, I don't know about any of that, but
you're outstanding in your own field. It's
I am
corn.
usually, it's corn or wheat.
No, but I so appreciate you. The community appreciates you and all that you do for Pueblo. You're a great ambassador, and I'm glad you were in charge of the whole state fair float this last year. Congratulations. You do a great job.
No, thank you. There you go. It's KPHT 95.5. Friends Friday. Dave Ritterling, thank you again so much for coming in today.